Alright folks, we are on the workbench with something really special here. This was just recently dropped off to us. Very special story about this guitar. The guitar itself, sort of special. The story behind the guitar, extremely special. So, inside, we have... This is a 1976 Gibson Les Paul Custom. It's the Norlin era. I know not a lot of people love the Norlin 70s era, but the cool thing about this guitar is that it actually survived a fire, and that's why it's here. This was underneath a bed in a house fire that I believe was pretty well burnt to the ground. But the being underneath the bed actually kind of saved it. Now, there are some issues, and that's really the main reason that it's here. One, you can kind of see what's going on here on the inside of the case. That is mold. You've got it on the inside of the case here as well. Now, I've already had this old girl out and plugged it in, and there's an issue with the jack. You'll also notice a couple things like the switch is the switch cover there, that's gone. It's crumbled. It's in the case somewhere. That could be just because of age, though. There was a little bit of mold growing on the guitar. Again, it survived a fire, so a lot of heat, a lot of moisture, humidity. All things considered, it's fared out fairly well. There is a couple issues with the neck that'll need to be worked on, but I think just a little bit of truss rod adjustment and some love, and everything should be fine. So, while we're here, let's go over a couple of things. So, what makes this a custom? You got the over-the-top binding on the headstock as well. There are a couple other things, tuners. Now, this is an odd custom in that custom usually has gold hardware. This is obviously the chromed hardware. It all appears to be original. I'll have to take it apart and see just to verify. But I mean, you've got standard wear and some pitting on all the right places to make it look like it. I've seen some of these. This is the wine red finish. This was, I believe, new in 75. I think 75 or 76 was the first year for this finish itself. The owners of this guitar actually wanted me to verify that it was, first of all, real. So, a couple things to look for on a guitar that's aged like this. The first thing we always want to inspect is the inlays on the face of the headstock here. Now, you're seeing some of the typical things that you want to see. The nitrocellulose starting to peel away in some of the areas around the logo and around the diamond here. I'll move that string anyway. You can see some of the checking, and that's all supposed to happen. You see the binding is starting to yellow. That could have been with some of the heat and humidity, mainly probably because of the age. A couple other things. You've got real mother of pearl inlays here. You can see those. And this, obviously, I'm going to say these are original frets. They look and feel like they are. And the other thing that you'll see when we look up close is they still have the nibs, as Gibson is known for this little area right here where the binding kind of rises up a little bit to meet the fret probably describing that wrong, but you get the idea. It has the nibs as it is supposed to, so it's never been refretted. Ebony fretboard, that's part of the Les Paul custom as well. Again, the chrome hardware kind of scratching my head, but I've seen it happen before. It's not that big of an oddity. Norlin Era, so you have all the things that you would see on a 70s Norlin Era. You've got your three-piece, you can see the seam here, there, and in here. This is all pretty dirty. We're going to clean all this up, and we're not doing a full restoration. That would be that wouldn't be good to do with this guitar. We're going to get it back to playable and nice and clean. So anyway, three-piece on the top, and as we pull this out, you can see there is the seam as well in the center. So you've got some people will call this a pancake body. There's the tip. There's the original tip. Actually, doesn't look too bad. No, it doesn't look too horrible. We'll get another tip. A proper. Found a couple on eBay that are genuine, real ones anyway, so we'll go back to that. I don't want to put a brand new tip onto this guitar just because of the aging that it's already had to it. Yeah, and then just a couple other things. The corrosion on all the frets here, the frets need to be cleaned up. Again, this could be partially because of the fire, could be because it's just been sitting underneath somebody's bed for God knows how many years. The other thing that I can definitely tell you, we'll flip this over and I'll show you the pots. It was able to date the guitar, so hang on one second. Alright, so a couple other neat things. It still has the original ashtray back cover, and now as we look in close here, we can see that this does have the original pots, original wiring. Everything looks like it's supposed to, and can't quite get in there to see what the issue is with the jack, but I'm assuming it probably just needs to be cleaned. And then as we read off these jacks, the pot codes, we have 137, 76. I don't have my glasses on. I believe it's 24 if I'm correct. No. I dated these just a little bit ago, and I can tell you that the pots date roughly to the end of May of 76. So everything is like it's supposed to be. We see the couple other telltale things of a Norlin era. We've got our three-piece maple neck. That comes up here. We've got the original Gibson Deluxe tuners. And we can cover the glare. You can see the serial number. Serial number dates us to, and the little sticker there does say custom, so the serial number dates us to 76, and the last three are 302, so that'll put us in the Kalamazoo plant. So what we have here is completely original, intact 1976 Gibson Les Paul custom that survived a fire. Alright, so I just wanted to give you a quick little look, just a little rub down, and you can see where I stopped. You can see the difference. This is what most of the body looked like. pretty crusty, dirty, dusty. And then this is actually what it's starting to come out to look like. I think we can get this to look pretty dang good. Yeah? Before, after. I'm not going to try and take any of these scratch play marks or, scratches or anything out of this. Those are all well earned. So we won't buff it or do anything crazy, just a nice deep cleaning. Alright, check back later. Alright, so a couple things as we're cleaning this up and going through. The one big thing that we noticed is that one's going to fight me. We'll do it with the neck pickup here. As we flip it over and take a look, we've got a patent number. So these are patented. Also, what's pretty neat inside the cavity here. See if I can't get it better. It's red and then the number 25. So first cleaning, starting to look pretty good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the frets and the neck. Alright, I flipped this over to start doing a cleaning, and the one thing that I've found, just removing the cavity cover itself, is this smoke and dirt. I mean, this is a 1976, so it's 45 years old. It made it through a fire underneath, survived underneath of a bed. So it was subjected to a lot of heat. There was a lot of smoke. You can see, I'm not quite exactly sure because this is pretty much, looks like it's never been opened. How much of this is dirt, sweat, buildup from being 45 years old, and how much of this is residual from the fire itself. But as you can see, everything's cleaning up pretty good. Still haven't strung it up and dealt with the neck issue yet, so we'll at least make it pretty first, and then we'll attack that. Alright, pulled off the switch cover, and you can see a lot of corrosion. I mean, there's a lot of corrosion. It'll probably be easier for me to do this, but if this was a Hammond, we'd be calling those dendrites. I guess it's the same thing. However, we know the switch is working pretty good. Watch it all disappear. The important thing here then is to make sure to work this switch around. we go, just a little contact cleaner. Get in here first to clean up all this stuff. Spritz a little on the rag and use that to wipe off the plate here. Yeah, good for another 45 years, huh? Alright, so just a quick couple of things. One, I'm working on these frets and this whole fretboard, so I got about this far, and now you can see what we've been up against with a lot of this. There's still some of the green fuzzies, but it's cleaning up pretty good. Everything looks, a big difference there. Everything's starting to look pretty good. It looks like there's still some space on that truss rod for a good adjustment. So I think we might be able to make this neck at least mostly playable. The other thing while we're here, I wanted to point out are the nibs. This is another way you can definitely tell if this has been refretted, and also if this is a real Gibson. As this is what I'm talking about by the nib. You can see them better down here in the upper registers. There we go. See how the fretboard binding rises up here to meet the fret itself. Most of the times when this gets refretted, they just channel that whole thing out, run the whole fret from the edge, the entire length of the fretboard. So, there you go. Finish polishing some frets. Alright, everything's starting to look pretty good. The frets have been cleaned up pretty well. I wouldn't necessarily say polished, but they look about better. Got rid of a lot of the corrosion. Smoothed down any little jaggedy edges. One thing that I am seeing, I'm sure you might be seeing it here as well, there are certain spots on the fretboard, especially here where it meets the neck, where you're getting cracking. And it's consistent cracking right along here, right along the heel neck pocket area. You can see several of them here. Not necessarily sure if that's because of the fire, but we're going to go ahead and you can see how dry this neck is. This fretboard is, so we're going to go ahead and lube that up right now. Let's see what those, you can also see a crack starting here in the inlay. Alright, so we're going to oil up the fretboard and see if that helps. Alright, I've gone through and I've cleaned up a lot of this stuff. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick here. There's some pitting on the stop tailpiece. You can see it in through here. And you run my finger over there. It's bumpy, it's rough. Here's a little secret. I'm not breaking my no liquids on the workbench rule. But check this out. This is a little hot rodding trick which works on chrome and various other metallized parts here. This is cola. It is a liter. Using a liter of cola. I'm not. Just rub it along your surface here for a second. Alright, and then you're gonna take some aluminum foil. A little more on there for good luck. I'm gonna fold this up. I'm gonna wet this side here. And now I'm just gonna give this a good rubbing in the areas, especially where you're bumpy. Alright. And then a quick little wipe down. And a quick little clean off. And those little bumpy bits are down. They're gone. And then this just a little quick little bit of wax will clean everything else up off of this. And you won't be catching your hand on that anymore either. I would not recommend using steel wool or anything extremely aggressive on anything like this because you're just going to rip right through the finish. Alright, we are back. We have finished the custom. And she looks pretty good. It took several attempts with some heat on the neck to finally get that back bow out, but she's looking pretty good. And we found an new old stock switch tip that fits perfectly and looks correct, because it is correct. Even fixed the bridge in our stop tailpiece. Polished up the frets. And while we're here in the jam room, we've got this 2002 standard Les Paul here. And we've got a couple of differences that you can see. In the binding, first and foremost. See the difference here on the custom versus the binding on the standard. The other thing that you will notice is as you notice, this is the pancake body. You see the seam here. You can see the seam. You will not see a seam. Well, the body is painted all the way around in this beautiful lake. No, this isn't Lake Placid. This is Pelham Blue Mist, that's it. But there is no seam in this body, as you can see. Other differences, the inlays, block versus your trapezoid. You'll see these are acrylic, they're not true mother of pearl. And then you can see up here on the standard, aside from the truss rod cover itself, you'll see the lack of serious inlays, or I'm sorry, binding around the head. And then the other difference, this has the custom has a maple neck because it is a 76, as we see. It also has the volute, or volute. But there we go, 76 Les Paul Custom. And then we have it next to a 2012 standard just for comparison.